Hey, what's up guys, this is Astranox and I'm back with another Epic 7 video. So in this one I want to review Blaze Dingo. This is going to be a guide and I'm going to talk about builds for him. First I will talk about the skills and their multipliers, talk about his stats, review him, and then talk about builds. So sets, gear, stat priority, main stats, and artifacts. So I mean, if you got him, like grats, he looks to be really good. So let's begin with his skills and their multipliers. So skill 1 and skill 2 deal damage and it heals proportional to the amount of damage it deals. Start with skill 1. It's gonna heal one ally with the lowest health. This is a single target attack, and the more damage you deal, the more healing you will do. You've got 35% damage increase from skill enhancements. And the multiplier on this thing is 266%, and it is actually quite high. His attack is on the lower side, but he's a soul weaver, guys. He's light and he's a natural 4-star. Now skill 2 attacks all enemies and it heals the ally with the lowest health. A critical hit activates punishment. Punishment is skill 1. So together, I mean, the skill multiplier on this thing, Divine Punishment, is 213%. It's an area attack, guys. And oh yeah, skill 1, I didn't talk about it, but 50% of the damage on skill 1 will heal the lowest health target ally, I mean. And skill 2 is 30% of the damage dealt, but it's an area attack, so it's gonna heal more if there's like 3 or 4 targets. And the multiplier on this thing is yeah, 213%. Now a critical will activate skill 1, so together it's gonna come out to be 479% damage, which is pretty insane, and that's gonna be a lot of healing going on. Now skill and on this thing there is 35% damage increase, and the cooldown is 3 turns, so that's actually quite good. It's fairly low. Now this thing is pretty insane. So 5 turn cooldown goes down to 4. You've got 30% healing increase, so it heals the ally with the caster, so one ally and himself, and it will grant both invincibility for 1 turn and increase attack buff for 2 turns. And the amount recovered is based on Blaze Dingo's attack, and it heals for 200% of his attack. So thing is, I wonder if it actually heals before giving the attack buff, or the attack buff is gained and then it heals, because it says that it heals first and then he gets the buff. So I mean, that's still really good. Now if you soul burn this thing, it's 20 souls and it will grant him an extra turn, so you can do a combo of skill 3 and then you pop skill 2, and if you land 1 critical hit on any of the target, this thing will attack everyone. So if you get 1 critical hit, it's gonna trigger skill 1. So with 20 souls, if you soul burn, you're doing skill 3, skill 2, and then skill 1, which is totally insane. So yeah, I talked about the multipliers, and let's talk about his stats. So his attack is low, but he's a soul weaver. His health is low as well. Speed is actually pretty good for a soul weaver. The defense is strong. Defense is strong, but the health is low. Now let's talk about. Well, let me review him, like a couple points here, and also I want to point out that his 6th awakening is 6% attack increase. Yeah, that's it. Alright, so I feel like he's better in PVE than PvP because it's a more controlled environment. because of his low survival stats. I mean, his health is low, but defense is high, so yeah, you could gear for more defense on your substats. But I'll talk about the gear and how to gear for him. Really, like, you should build him offensively. It's a hero that can heal and deal pretty good damage at the same time. His damaging skills, they work like Bloodstone. Bloodstone is a 5-star artifact for rangers. You can use that on Bellona. It's very strong. It heals the lowest health ally on your team, and Bellona can deal some crazy damage. Now, I talked about the soul burn of skill 3 that combos into skill 2 and then skill 1 if you land a critical hit with that area attack on skill 2. That's a ton of damage, and you're gonna have attack buff. I mean, you're gonna heal up the whole team. I mean, it's gonna be great. Well, I mean, it's gonna heal himself and someone else on skill 3, and then skill 2 is gonna heal the lowest health target ally, and then skill 1 is gonna heal the other ally that has the lowest health. Could be the same one if that ally was really low, but it might just switch to another ally. Also, you should make sure that defense down is applied on the target that you're fighting or targets, because it will roughly double your damage output against that target, meaning that you will heal for like potentially double the amount. So that's very important. Make sure there is defense down applied. He buffs his own attack and another ally's attack, so that there's that kind of covered there. Now, he can be used in multiple areas of the game, which is a very strong, like a really big strength for him, really. He can be used in the hunts, he can be used in the raid, he can be used in PvP. Arena and Guild War, I'll talk more about that after. Adventures, he can be used there as well. Actually, he's a great farmer. He's elemental neutral. He doesn't have defense down debuff that he can apply, but he has fantastic sustain and also brings attack buff and invincibility. And also he has 1 area attack on a 3-turn cooldown. You can pair him in PvP with Ludwig for some PvP fun, really, like, because Ludwig penetrates defense of the enemy team with his skill 3 if he has invincibility. So make sure Blaze Dingo goes after your combat readiness booster on your team, and then you apply, you use this skill on Ludwig, and then he's gonna go to town. It's gonna be really great. Now, another thing, what was it here? I talked about it already. So what I want to say is that in PvP, really, he's gonna shine more on arena offense or Guild War offense, because his survival stats are not so great, really, and he should be built with high offensive power and just enough survival to survive whatever type of content you're doing. But the thing is, I mean, if you bring him on your defense, be it arena or Guild War defense, he's just gonna get nuked, because I mean, he's bringing invincibility and attack buff. I mean, they will just nuke him. So really, like, if you can use him on offense, that's gonna be way better for you. And make sure that the enemy team's not gonna like destroy him super quick. Like, I mean, don't bring him against a dark team that has a combat readiness booster, and if you lose the speed battle, you're pretty much done. But anyways, it doesn't really matter. Normally these teams, if they win the speed battle, you're in a really bad start. Alright, so let's move on to how to gear him. So for the sets, I would say that, I mean, I talked about his stats, but I talked about his speed. His speed for a Soul Weaver is actually quite good. So I'm thinking that speed set would be the best for him. Speed with a crit set, or you could go with triple crit set. Triple crit set is actually very good. Or you could also go with an attack set with a crit set. Now, yeah, he's got low health but high defense. Now for his stat priority for his for like the substats on your gear. I would say that higher priority goes to critical hit chance, unless you're rolling with 3 crit sets. Then I mean, you're gonna be covered there. But still, like, try to aim for. Thing is, if you get 100% crit chance, I mean, he's just gonna end up healing for more, and you're making sure that this thing will trigger skill 1, which is gonna be a lot of damage together. Now I would say that critical hit chance is top priority, and then it would be speed, and then attack. I mean, he definitely needs attack to deal more damage, and also his skill 3 scales off of attack. But really, I think the priority is crit. Another way to look at it is that this is an area attack, so if you're fighting like multiple targets, even if you have like 50% crit chance, he's bound to land like a critical hit on one of the target, meaning it's gonna trigger skill 1. But to be honest, if I built him, if I had him, I would definitely have him on very high crit chance, because I mean, you're guaranteeing that everything's gonna land as a crit unless you're fighting someone that has the anti-crit buff, like that got applied from DN. That's minus 50% crit chance, which is really overpowered. So yeah, crit, and then speed, and then attack. Then I would say critical damage, and finally defense, and then finally health. I would say defense before health, because like I said, his defense is higher than his health, so defense has more priority, because if you bring defense percentage, it's just gonna scale better than if you bring health percentage. But yeah, try to balance his stats though. Like, don't have him like full offensive power and like 0 survival, because he's just gonna get nuked in different type of content in PVE. Now I would aim for 100% critical hit chance, really. But when I talk about attack, I talk about attack percentage, guys, on substat, defense percentage, health percentage. You definitely don't want flat attack, defense, and health. So the main stats on the items on the right side, the necklace, I would say go with critical damage percentage. On the ring, I would go with attack percentage, and the boots, I would go with speed. Because, I mean, think about it, he's bringing attack buff and this invincibility. I prefer to have higher speed on him. I would much rather him going first before the pure damage dealers in the group, or maybe you're just running one pure damage dealer, because he's like sort of a hybrid, which is really great. But yeah, speed, so he can cycle through his skills faster, and it's gonna give you a constant stream of healing toward your team, so there's no like big gap where like there's no healing coming in, and then you might get hit by 2 big mechanics and you just might lose a hero, and it's just gonna go downhill from there. So yeah, speed boots, ring, attack percentage. I mean, you could, if you're like you're fighting some encounter where you know there's some big burst damage, you could switch the ring to defense percentage, or just have more substats on your gear that give defense percentage or health percentage. It really depends what you are doing, if he's getting focused or whatever. So yeah. Now for best artifacts for him, I'm gonna quickly go through that. Now I would say number 1 is Celestine. Celestine, the way it works is that it heals the ally with the lowest health by, well, minimum is 8%, but let's talk about plus 15, because that's where you're gonna have the artifact if you only have 1 copy. Plus 15 is gonna give you 12% heal on the lowest ally on your team, and this is 12% of their max health. So it's gonna be between 12% and 16% depending on how many limit breaks you've done. And really that is the better one, because I mean it only works on basic skill, aka his skill 1. But remember that his skill 2 can trigger skill 1 if you get any critical hit on the targets that you're fighting. So that's another plus. And he's going to be using skill 1 quite often, or even if he uses skill 2, it's going to do a skill 1 attack. So yeah, Celestine, just a ton more healing. Or second best option would be Shimadra's staff, really, because it's gonna not only increase his healing output, but this works on anyone on your team, meaning that if you have another heal, a pure healer on your team, it will affect their healing. It's gonna boost it. So between 30% increase in healing to 40%, depending if you've got some limit breaks going there. I mean, I don't even have Shimadra Staff. It also affects any type of healing. If you've got lifesteal on someone in your group, it's gonna affect that as well, which is really great. So yeah, I would say that Shimadra Staff becomes #1 if you're running him with a pure healer with a high healing output, like Angelica heals for a ton. And I would say that Shimadra Staff becomes better at that point. But if he's your solo healer, which he can totally be your solo healer, especially with Celestine. Now, if you need to remove debuffs, I would say that Wondrous Potion Vial would be your go-to artifact. Just a great one, only 4-star, and you've got 75% chance of dispelling one debuff from an ally at the beginning of the turn. Also, if, let's say, in a PvP situation or even PvE, he's stunned, and it's his turn. If Wondrous Potion Vial triggers, if it dispels something, and like that stun is the only thing, and the only debuff on your team, it's just gonna take off the stun, which is great, and then he's gonna get his turn. He's not gonna lose his turn, which is, it's been so helpful to me in PvP on Requiem Roar. Now, for other artifacts that you could use, guys, I would say if you are fighting a target with high health, you can definitely use Daydream Joker, because this deals damage based on the target's max health. It scales with if you have defense down applied on the target. Of course, it has to go through defense reduction though. It's not pure 3% of the target max health. It's not like Chloe's magic nail. So yeah, it goes through defense, so it doesn't go through defense. It has to go, it gets reduced by defense. So that's why defense down debuff is highly helpful when you have Daydream Joker. And also he can attack twice, so skill 2 and 2 skill 1, and also his skill 2 is an area attack, so that's another plus. So yeah, Daydream Joker, but like make sure the target has like 100,000 health plus, so like it's gonna be your stage 11 like Wyvern and Golem, and also mostly your Hell Raids. Yep, so Daydream Joker can definitely can be useful. Now if you use him as a farmer, let's say you get him early game and you really need him as a farmer, I would say that Prophetic Candlestick will be definitely helpful to you, because I mean he's gonna get targeted all the time, lowering his cooldowns of skill 3 and 2, so he's gonna go more often with his area attack. And also you can definitely use Prophetic Candlestick in Golem, guys, because Golem always attack your whole team when he counterattacks or with his skill 3. So Prophetic Candlestick is very good actually for Golem, so just remember that. It's a very strong artifact, and it's only 3 stars, so you can limit break it to potentially plus 30 later down the line. So yeah, this is gonna cover this this review guide, guys, with build for him. Also, I mean, congratulations if you got him. He, like, when I'm releasing this video, he is not released yet. He's about to in 2 days. So really, if you manage to pull him, congratulations. And let's just look at his skill preview here real quick. So S3, really nice. And then skill 2 can potentially trigger S1. There's a critical hit, so it does it. Boom. Really cool. Alright, I'm out for now, guys. Thanks for watching. I'm Astranox. Like, comment, and subscribe for more. Press the bell icon if you'd like to be notified whenever I release a new video. And check out my other videos. They should be showing up on the screen now. I'm out. Peace.